So if you haven't heard already, Wuben just launched their brand new X4 flashlight, and I'm really excited for this because it has a whole bunch of really cool features that I think you're going to absolutely love. And if you've used any of Wuben's flashlights before, you'll know that they're pretty unique. The build quality is excellent, and they have something pretty much for everybody. Now the X4 is pretty similar to their X2 Pro that they launched not too long ago. So if you love the X2 Pro, you're definitely going to love the X4 because, like I said, it's an improvement on some of the features that the X2 Pro already has. And even though I've done a whole bunch of other reviews on Wuben flashlights, I just love flashlights in general. I think they're really cool, and Wuben makes some pretty unique lights. And if you guys are flashlight nerds like I am, give me a thumbs up to let me know that you're out there too. And the other thing that I really like about Wuben as a company is they seem to listen to their customers' feedback, and whenever they launch a new light, that light seems to have a lot of the features that people were wanting, or little tweaks here and there that actually add to the usability of the light. And I'll show you exactly what I mean when I compare the X4 to the X2 Pro, and you'll see what little changes they've made to actually improve the light. So let's take a closer look at the X4, and at the end of the video, I'll also be doing a brightness test, so make sure you stick around for that. I do also want to let you know that Wuben did send this out to me to do an early review, but I'm not being paid. They just simply wanted me to give you my honest opinions. And here is the X4. And the one thing that I can always appreciate about all of Wuben's lights is they make them from solid aluminum. The only thing that's plastic on this light is the cover for these LEDs and maybe the lens for the LED covers on the main light. That is it. Everything else is made from a very solid aluminum, so you can be sure that they do not skip on the build quality. Now, the one major difference between the X4 and the X2 Pro is the fact that this X4 uses one 18650 battery, whereas the X2 Pro uses 14500s. The main LED on this light can do a max of 1500 lumens, and it can also go down to as low as 5 lumens. The battery life can give you up to 11 days of continuous use on its moon mode, and it also has a bonus that allows you to use its moon mode while it's charging up, so you can pretty much use that mode indefinitely. It's got a beam distance of 205 meters. It's got 10,506 candelas. It's also got a drop resistance rating of 1 meter and an IP68 water resistance rating, which allows it to be submerged into 2 meters of water up to 1 hour. It weighs 13 grams or 4.83 ounces, and it comes with a warranty up to 5 years. So now let's go over the whole X4 and I'll show you some of the features that it has. So on the main light here, you can see that we've got 4 different LEDs on the front. These are just white LEDs. It does also have an RGB LED on the side here, along with some white LEDs too. On the side, we do have a power button that can be pushed in, as well as a dimming rotary switch that is pretty solid, and they've also made that a little bit bigger since the X2 Pro as well. We've got our selector switch on the side. It also locks the light so you can't use the light at all. So if you have it in your book bag or your pocket or something like that, you don't have to worry about it accidentally turning on and wasting battery. We've got 3 different selections. You can select the main light, the side light, or you can also do the moon mode, which also exposes the little USB-C for charging. You can also check the battery very quickly when the switch is any of the 3 modes except for the lock. Just hold in the power button for a couple seconds and the little LED status will tell you what your battery is at, and because it is solid blue, the battery is fully charged. One thing I really appreciate is the fact that them making the switch the lock instead of having to press the button 4 different times, because sometimes you don't really remember how many times you need to press it. Is it 3 or 4? You never remember, especially if you don't use the light all the time. So the locking switch makes it very easy, and you can also select all the lights very easy as well. On the bottom here, another thing that I absolutely love that they've included that they did not have on some of the older X1 and the X2s is a magnetic bottom. So they've been including this magnetic bottom on a lot of the other lights they made, and that is definitely a welcome upgrade. This also does have a tactile tactical switch on the bottom here that turns the light on and off momentarily. You can also use it to turn on the strobe, which I'll show you in just a minute. But again, this uses an 18650 battery that you can access with this little switch here. Just simply press it in, the bottom opens, and out comes the battery. Super quick if you want to not charge your battery but have a couple of these handy. You just easily pop in another one and you're good to go. You can also lock this switch so you can't actually accidentally press it and the battery just pops out. You just simply press that forward and now you can't open the battery cover. So that's pretty nice too. Then on the back here we've got an all metal belt clip, which is pretty solid and runs the length of almost the whole light. Absolutely love this little tactile switch on the bottom here. Very clicky and it's very easy to access, especially if you're palming the whole light just like this. You can just very quickly and easily get access to a very, very bright light, which again, I will be showing you in just a minute. But before I go over all the lights and everything that it can do, let me show you the differences between the X2 Pro and the X4. So you can see that they're pretty similar. The X4 is a little bit taller and it's also a little bit slimmer. Now the X2 Pro does have a magnetic bottom, but it does not come with the little tactile switch like it does in the X4. The X2 does have an accessory that allows you to attach a tactile switch in the bottom, but it also comes off the back of the light about that much and adds a little bit of extra bulk to the light. That's why I love this little tactile switch on the bottom there. Another thing that they made a little different is the side light on the X2 Pro. They've got this little LED light that also does have RGB, which the X4 does, but on the X2 Pro, you can kind of swivel this about 20 degrees up and down. It's really not a huge deal, but it's just something they changed on the X4. So you can see that there is no rotation, but we still do have some LEDs with RGB LEDs. The X2 Pro does also have a UV LED, which the X4 does not. The other main difference is the light on the side here can do about 400 lumens, whereas the one on the X4 can only do 100, but it's still pretty bright. Another thing that they've changed is the scroll wheel. You can see that the X2 Pro does have a scroll wheel, just like the X4, but you can see they've made it a lot bigger. So it's a little bit easier to scroll than it is on the X2 Pro. Another thing they've improved on is the little switch here. It's kind of behind the scroll wheel. It's a little hard to move, and it's also very small, whereas the X4, they've made very easy to move, and it's also very big. So you don't have to worry about, not being able to access it very easily, especially if you're wearing gloves. If we look at the top, you can see that the LEDs are pretty much exactly the same. And both of these can do a max of 1500 lumens for the main light. They both also have a dimming to each of the LEDs as well. So the scroll wheel dims the light and it does the same thing on the X4. Another thing I can really appreciate is that this little USB Type-C port is covered by this little rubber gasket that can come out and also wear out, whereas the X4 is totally covered and it's very easy to access. So you don't have to worry about anything wearing out, and it's also easy to use, and you can also use the moonlight mode while it's being charged. So now let me show you how all the LEDs look and work very quickly before we move on to our brightness test. So if we want to use our side light, again, just switch it over to the side. When it's in the side light mode, you can still access the main light by using the little tactile switch on the back here. Just simply press that in and it goes right to turbo mode. It's super bright. Now, if you want to use the strobe, all you need to do is press this button in 2 times and it'll work the strobe. If you have epilepsy or if you're sensitive to flashing lights, please look away right now and I'll let you know when I turned it off. So to turn on the strobe mode, just press this in 2 times and it goes into strobe, and then press once to turn it off. I'm done with the strobe mode. We won't be seeing it again. Then to turn on these side lights, we'll use the main button here. Just press that in once and it turns on these LEDs. Now they are dimmable, so we can make them a little brighter just by scrolling down on the little wheel here. When it flashes like that, it lets you know that it won't go any brighter. So we'll turn this back down. Then if you want to switch to the RGB light, just simply hold the button in when the light is on. It'll switch to the RGB, and then you can scroll through all the different colors. It's pretty nice. Then if you want to make the RGB flash, just simply double press on that button and it'll flash the RGB light. Then press it again to turn it off. Now if you press in the button again, it'll resume right where it left off on the RGB mode. And then to get it back to the white, just simply press and hold in on the side button. Now you can also choose to have the RGB flash a couple different colors, and I'll show you how to do that now. Again, if you're sensitive to flashing lights, this is not like the strobe, but it does flash. So I'm going to show you that now. So if you want to turn on the flashing lights, just double press the power button when it's in the RGB mode, but it's off. So we'll double press, and it'll go to the flashing lights. To change the color of the lights, just double press again. It'll go to red and yellow, and then press it again, and it'll go to the red and the blue. Then to turn that off, just simply press the button in one time, and it turns off. So I'm done with the flashing and the strobing of the RGB light right now. Now we'll switch on to our main mode. And if you want to access that light, you can push in the tactile switch on the back here, or you can also press the power button. And you can also raise the brightness all the way up to turbo, and you can also dim it down as well. Now you can also go straight to turbo if you turn it on and it's in its lowest mode, and you can do that just by double pressing the power button. And then if you wanted to go back down, just simply scroll the wheel all back down again. So that's a quick way to go from a very light, very dim mode all the way to turbo. One thing to note is you cannot use the tactile button back here if you've turned the light on with the side power button. If you want to use the button on the back here, so you can't use it, just turn the light off with the power button, and then you can use the back tactile switch. Then for charging, or to use the moon mode, we can simply press it up. It exposes the charging port, and you can put it into its moon mode. You cannot raise the brightness on this mode, and you can also turn it off with the back switch. So I'll show you, I'll plug this in so we can charge. So it has a little status LED right there to let you know it is charging, and you can also see that you can use the moon mode as well. So you can pretty much just keep this light on indefinitely if it's being charged. This is pretty nice. So I showed you everything I can about this light, so now let's move on to the brightness test so we can see what this light can actually do. Alright, so the first thing we're going to test out is the moon mode, and that's the mode that you can have on continuously if you're charging up your light. And it's also the lowest lumen mode, which is going to be about 5 lumens. So I'm going to turn that on right now. And we're looking straight down at my feet here, and you can see that even at 5 lumens, it puts out a pretty good amount of light. Definitely enough light to where you could see where you're walking, and a little bit ahead of you actually. It's pretty bright. So if you need to use this mode, even when you're charging up your light, it's going to put out a pretty decent amount of light for a long time. Now the next mode we're going to test out is the main light. We're going to start off at its lowest setting, which again, it should be about the moon mode. So there, as you can see, it is the moon mode, so that's going to be the lowest brightness. Now I can't really give you exact lumens because it's going to be a dimmable light. So I'm going to raise the brightness. It doesn't really tell me what the lumens are, but all I can tell you is the lowest lumens are about 5 lumens, and the max is about 1500. So again, we're at our lowest, so I'll turn it up just a little bit here. Just kind of point out, you can see how far ahead of me you can see on the lowest mode. Then we'll turn it up a little bit. As you can see, a lot more. That's not even at its fullest brightness. You can definitely see a really good amount of area now just by raising up the brightness just a little bit. And I'll raise it up again. Again, you can see how far the light goes out now. Puts out a really good amount of light. And then I'll turn it up to its highest mode here. And that is the highest. And I believe that should be about 1500 lumens. I'm telling you, I can probably see a little bit more than you can see on the camera, but it definitely puts out a good amount of light. You can see, I'll shine it out there. Definitely, you can definitely see a good ways out there on this brightest mode. And now I'll put it on turbo just to make sure we're getting the most lumens possible. So that is turbo. And it seems to be the same amount of output we get on the highest level that we can put the light with the rotatable switch. Then I'll use the tactical switch in the back. And again, that should be about 1500 lumens, lights up a really good amount of area. And then I'll put it on strobe. So again, if you're sensitive to strobe lights, I'll turn it on and I'll let you know when I'm going to turn it off. So look away now. And that is strobe. Lights up a pretty good area as well. Okay, I turned it off. Now we're going to switch over to the side lighting, which is that strip of LEDs on the front there. And that puts out a max of 100 lumens. So definitely can't see a lot in front of me. You can see on the screen it's still pretty dark unless I get like right down to the ground here. Really doesn't put out a lot of light on its lowest mode. So I'll turn it up and we'll see what we can see then. So there I turned it up just a little bit and you can definitely see a lot more area than I could before. And we'll turn it up a little more. And that's at its full brightness. So at its full brightness, it puts out a decent amount of light. This would probably be good for maybe camping or something like that. It's also a lower temperature light as well, so it's not going to be as bright. It's supposed to be a little softer. And again, here's the side white light on its highest brightness. And then we'll go to the RGB lighting. So there we have the green LED light, and it puts out an okay light for the RGB. I can see in front of me, but it doesn't go much further than that. Then here we have the blue. You can see how much light it kind of puts out, just a little bit in front of my shoes, not too far. So if you need to see just a little bit in front of you, you can use the RGB LED, but it's really not that great for seeing anything. All right, so now I'm just gonna walk around with the flashing lights, not the strobe, but the flashing RGB, just so you guys can see what that looks like. And I'll kind of change the lights as I go. This is probably about maybe 15, 20 feet away. So as you saw, this little light is pretty bright, and even for the side LEDs only being at 100 lumens, it's still plenty of light to light up your way if you have to clip this on your belt or a book bag to use it hands-free. And if you're watching this video and you're saying that this light is not the brightest out there, it's not, and it's not supposed to be. Wuben makes other flashlights that are a lot brighter, but they don't have nearly the same functionality as the X4. With the X4, they're trying to give you a more balanced use and function out of the light versus it just being great at just one thing. And I can totally appreciate that. I also love the fact that this is made of solid aluminum. Feels like a very solid light, especially when you have it in your hand. And that's the same thing with all of Wuben's lights. I also love the fact that they've included the magnetic bottom because you can easily clip it to things, so you can use this again hands-free, especially if you're working on your car or doing things around your home. I also love the fact that they've made this little scroll wheel on the side here a little bit bigger, and it's also a little more protected, so you don't have to worry about that getting damaged if you happen to drop this. And I like that they've put a plastic cover over these LEDs to give it more durability as well. unlike the X2 Pro that has that little swiveling head that might get damaged a little easier. The one thing that you might encounter that I kind of wish they would change for this light is the switch on the side here. I think it's a little bit too easy to slide up and down. If you have this in your pocket or a book bag or something like that, this little switch here might get bumped and easily switched to something that you don't want. So if they just made this a little bit tougher to press, I think it would still be a really nice option on the light and still be usable, but it will be less likely to move if it's in your pocket or your book bag. That's the only downside that I could see to this light. And it's not a big downside, it's just something that you might encounter. Another thing is I absolutely love this little tactile button on the bottom here, so you can very easily and quickly access that really bright light if you need to. But that's it for the X4. What did you guys think? Will you be picking one up? Do you like the improvements that they made on this? Let me know in the comments below. And if you guys do want to pick this up yourself, I will also be putting product links in the video description. And if you guys use those links, you will be directly supporting my channel as well. Also, if you guys enjoyed the video, let me know by hitting the like button and subscribe for more tech reviews. Thank you all for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Also, if you guys enjoyed the video, definitely let me know by hitting the like button and subscribe for more tech reviews. Thank you all for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.